Today, we're diving deep into a franchise that, well, let's be honest, has had more lives than a Meowth with nine, well, you know what I
We
mean?
get the idea.
Right, Pokemon. So we've got articles, videos, people are buzzing, some celebrating, some, let's say, less than thrilled about the future of Pokemon.
It's a really fascinating moment for the franchise. I mean, we've got huge changes in the anime. The games are getting, well, some pretty intense reactions. And overall, it feels like Pokemon's kind of at a crossroads, you know? Like it's an end of an era, but also the beginning of something totally new.
Absolutely. And I think the biggest like bombshell that really kicked all this off was, well, Ash and Pikachu, after 25 years, they're done. Stepping down, finally a Pokemon Master. At least that's what it looks like.
Right. And those final episodes, man, they were a roller coaster, especially for anyone who's, been following along since the beginning. Seeing Misty and Brock again, even Ash's Pidgeot came back. Like they pulled out all the stops,
Oh, yeah. And don't forget Team Rocket. Blasting off again, just like always.
of course. But then the ending itself, it was, well, kind of vague. No dad reunion, no hints at, romance or anything. And it's almost like we don't even know how much time has passed, really.
Definitely left some things open-ended.
It almost feels deliberate, like they're leaving the possibility there for Ash and Pikachu to come back. Maybe if they need a ratings boost or something.
It wouldn't be the first time a character, especially a fan favorite, made a comeback. But I guess for now, we've got Leiko and Roy, the stars of this new show, Pokemon Horizons.
And that is a different vibe from what we're used to. I mean, new region, this whole airship research group thing. Who knows what they're going to get up to?
I'm super curious to see how people react. It's a big gamble, right? Like, how do you follow up a legend like Ash?
Exactly. Horizons has to like win over fans while also making its own mark. The end of Ash's journey, it played a lot on nostalgia, right? Reminded us why we loved those characters, that world.
Totally. It was a smart move, for sure.
And now Horizons has to find a way to build that same kind of connection, but in its own way.
Speaking of expectations and, well, maybe not quite meeting them, we got to talk about Scarlet and Violet. The games, sales-wise, they killed it, but the fandom, pretty divided on this one.
Oh yeah, Scarlet and Violet are like the perfect example of how tricky it can be to balance innovation and, actually making it work.
So what we're seeing is some people are loving the open world, how they streamline some stuff, but then you've got others who are just, slamming the glitches, saying the content feels repetitive.
The open world, everyone wanted that, right?
Right.
But then you compare it to Legends, Arceus, which came out the same year, and that game, people loved it. Arceus was fresh. The world felt so much more, well, interactive.
Yeah, it's like Scarlet and Violet, they give you this huge playground, but then it's like not enough to do in it, you know?
And the technical stuff, oh man, it felt rushed,
Yeah.
even with the updates. And that leaves people thinking, okay, is this just a misstep or is this like a bigger problem?
Especially compared to Arceus, right? Which really showed what a Pokemon game could be when they really go for it.
Yeah, so now you've got the anime saying goodbye to
Sure.
basically its icons. The new games are struggling to live up to, well, anything really. And everyone's wondering, is Pokemon losing its magic?
Big questions. Huge questions.
I don't know. It's tough to say for sure. I mean, Pokemon's been around for so long. It's always changing, adapting. But there's no denying right now. It feels like a turning point.
Like the whole franchise is, well, evolving.
Exactly.
Evolving.
It's kind of like you've got this pull in every direction, right?
Yeah.
You've got the nostalgia, people wanting those classic Pokemon vibes, but then also this push for something new, something, well, different, AD, or you got to keep all kinds of fans happy.
Exactly. It's a tough balancing act for sure. And looking at what people are saying, there are a few ideas floating around, some pretty out there, some more like tweaking things, but all trying to get that spark back in Pokemon, you know?
I'm seeing this theme like a lot of people want Pokemon to go back to its roots, kind of focus on what made it so great in the first place. It's that back to basics idea, right? Catching, training, battling, exploring, all that good stuff.
But then wouldn't that like alienate the people who are craving something totally new? Like, how do you please everybody?
It's not just about like repeating the same old formulas. It's more like how do you take those core mechanics, make them even better, more depth, more, I don't know, complexity, but without making it too hard for new players,
So more like evolving the core instead of abandoning it.
Exactly. Think about it. The battles, they're strategic, right? But there's always room for more strategy or exploring, finding new Pokemon, that sense of wonder. That's what people love.
That's what keeps people coming back. Yeah.
Right. So how do you capture that magic again, but make it feel fresh? Legends. Arceus kind of showed that it's possible, right? Like they innovated, but it still felt like Pokemon.
Arceus really was a breath of fresh air for a lot of people. I'm seeing that a lot in the articles and videos, like Arceus set a new standard, maybe.
It's a good example of
Yeah.
that because it took the basics, catching, battling, but it put them in a totally different context. It felt more real, more immersive, and that's what people are hungry for.
This idea of immersion keeps popping up. People want to feel like they're actually in the Pokemon world, not just like playing a game.
Like the world reacts to them, to their choices, their actions, everything.
There are even people talking about like a morality system. Imagine that, your choices as a trainer actually mattering, changing the world around you.
That'd be wild.
Yeah.
And then what about after you become the champion? Right now, it's kind of like, okay, what now? People want more post-game stuff, more challenges, maybe even like player-created content, stuff like that.
So the game keeps going even after you've beaten it.
Right. Some people are even suggesting a Pokemon MMO. Can you imagine? Thousands of players, all in the same world, interacting, battling, trading, everything.
That's a whole other level, but it's not just about these huge ideas, right? Sometimes it's the little things that make the biggest difference.
Absolutely. I've seen a lot of comments about, polish, better animations, Pokemon that are more expressive, environments that feel real, lived in, all that.
Yeah, it's about those details that make the world feel alive, that make you want to just like get lost in it, you know?
And the music. Don't even get me started on the music. Pokemon music.
Yeah.
Legendary. People want those classic tunes back. That sense of adventure, that nostalgia.
This comes back to that feeling, right? That
Yeah.
feeling of stepping into a world where anything is possible. That's the magic of Pokemon, and it feels like maybe it's been getting lost a little bit.
So the question is, how do they bring it back? How do they evolve, adapt, but still keep that heart, that soul that made Pokemon what it is?
That's the challenge, right? Can they do it?
Well, it's a two-way street. The creators, they got to listen to the fans, understand what they want, what they're worried about, and then got to be willing to, take some risks. But the fans, they got to speak up. They got to engage. They got to support the franchise, even when it's maybe not perfect.
So what about you? What do you want to see? If you could change anything, what would it be? Keep anything the same. What's your Pokemon dream?
This is where it gets interesting. We've talked about the problems, the possibilities, but now it's your turn. What do you love about Pokemon? What needs work?
Huh?
What kind of Pokemon adventure are you waiting for?
It's crazy, right? Like all these different ideas for where Pokemon could go. Some people want like a total reboot. Others are like, just fix the little things. But it's clear, everybody cares.
And that's what's so cool about Pokemon, right? It's been around forever, but it still gets people talking, arguing, debating. It's more than just a game. It's like part of our culture or something.
Totally. So let's dig into some specifics, shall we? Starting with the gameplay. Like, what could they do to make the battles feel, I don't know, more exciting, more modern?
One thing I keep seeing is this idea of ditching the turn-based battles, making it real time. Like you got to react on the fly, think fast. Strategy is still there, but it's way more intense.
Oh, that would be wild. But wouldn't that like turn off the people who are used to the classic way of battling?
Maybe they could have different modes,
Yeah.
like pick your style, classic or real time. Or they can ease people into it, slowly add more real-time elements as the games go on.
Smart, smart. So what about the Pokemon themselves? Everyone wants more creative designs, right? Like, what would you like to see?
Man, there's so much potential. I'd love to see Pokemon based on like weird deep sea creatures or prehistoric bugs or even mythology from different cultures, stuff we haven't seen before.
Pokemon that really make you go, whoa, what is that thing?
Exactly. And then the regions, right? Every new generation, new region, always inspired by real places. Where do we go next?
Ooh, that's a good one. What about, like, Southeast Asia? The temples, the jungles, all those amazing myths and legends. They could have Pokemon based on Nagas, Garudas. It'd be incredible.
Now that's a region I'd want to explore. New Pokemon types, new abilities, new everything.
Right. But beyond all that, like the features, the ideas, what do you think is the most important thing for Pokemon's future?
Honestly, I think it's about remembering what made Pokemon great in the first place. That sense of wonder, the joy of discovering new Pokemon, that feeling of friendship, that bond between you and your team, that's what matters.
It's the heart and soul of Pokemon, right?
Exactly. And that's what we got to hold on to as fans. We got to support the franchise, give feedback, be part of the conversation, help them make Pokemon the best it can be.
It's like a partnership, right, between the creators and the fans.
Exactly. So to everyone listening, think about it. What do you love about Pokemon? What needs work? What's your dream Pokemon game? Your dream region, your dream team? Let's keep this conversation going.
It's been amazing diving deep into the world of Pokemon with you all today. Who knows what the future holds? But one thing's for sure, the journey continues. Thanks for listening, everybody, and keep on training.